Okay, time for another edition of the Fantasy Show. What is this? Week
Topher,
5?
have you been
Yes.
checking the comments? Surely we've gotten some comments on
I have
the
not
last
been
couple of
looking at
shows.
the comments, but you can go on after this and check them if you want. I look at the views there every once in a while, and we haven't hit anywhere close to that one obscure UCL draw
Yeah,
That's
video.
because you
if
paid
So
him
you're
in
if you're
Twitch.
watching,
unfortunately, my
I
hopes and
appreciate you,
dreams
man.
of making money off of YouTube, off doing a fantasy weekly show, are crushed because we aren't getting those views that we got for that one episode. You hate to see it, but you never know. All right, looking at last week's scores, obviously we had some big matchups as we talked about, and we will start with my matchup versus Bill in a very closely contested match as predicted by pretty much everyone in here. I knew it would be a dogfight against Bill. I was expecting our teams to do a little bit better. They underproduced a little bit, but I did on Monday night break my Monday night curse and finally secure a win. It's even sweeter against Bill because last year in fantasy at the beginning of the season when I had my Monday night Dak Prescott hurt his finger, that was against Bill. That cost me the win. So it's sweet to get some Monday night revenge against Bill. The 118 to 115 victory as Kenneth Walker and DK came through. I needed about 12 from each of them, and they didn't do much higher than that, but they got me what I needed to secure the victory. Some down performances to be expected from a few of my guys as I've been hot the previous 2 weeks, so some expected things like Pollard not having that great of a game. Both my Seattle boys kind of came back and check. Hawkinson had a bad game and Pickens didn't do anything, but that was kind of going to be always a rough one. Although James Conner, who I could have played over Pickens, he didn't do anything either against the Sanford. So overall, happy to get the win. Obviously led by my boy Justin Jefferson, who continues to have a huge game. He had 2 TDs in this game, which you love to see because he wasn't getting in the end zone before this week. On Bill's side, it was a matter of starting the wrong couple guys, but I mean he had some tough decisions. Obviously on Thursday night, David Montgomery got him 34 points on the bench. So, I mean, it's hard to start David Montgomery when he had these other options like Moss and Kamara, who had been hot, and Kamara coming back from his suspension. And Montgomery was coming back from injury. So, kind of a tough decision for Bill. I'm not going to put too much on it that he started the wrong running back clearly. Tough choice. The one thing that didn't work out for him though was he traded for the tight end Musgraves instead of starting Zach Ertz, who he had last week in his lineup when we did the show. After the show, he traded for Musgraves and started him on Thursday night, which gave me a good start because he got hurt and wasn't doing anything before he got hurt. So he put up a bad game, where Zach Ertz had 11 points, so that would have been the difference for Bill. That's the only one I'm going to question. Obviously, Josh Allen popped off, which I all kind of expected in that game. So I wasn't too upset when I saw that because I knew he was going to pop off. Kamara looked very good though in his first game back in action with a huge reception day,
Okay.
13 receptions for
Yeah, but for
Kamara. Like that,
33
just
yards.
unbelievable. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's PPR. 13. I mean, it does. All the yardage is
We
just
can't say he
extra.
looked good though. We can't say he looked good
I
though.
mean, you get for fantasy
For
purposes,
fantasy
you're getting
purposes,
targeted
yes.
14 times as a running back.
Well,
I
also
mean,
you have to take into
that's
account Derek Carr's
that's
arm is
crazy.
fucked, so eventually
Okay,
he
well,
will.
it's is it not fucked anymore? Like it's
We
still.
don't know, but
I
eventually
mean,
he will
it's
be.
still kind of fucked. I mean, Waddle was a disappointment for Bill. Pittman was a disappointment for Bill. So obviously, some things could have different on both sides. Our teams had some guys that struggled, which made this matchup even closer. GG's to Bill though. He falls at 2-2. Still has a pretty decent team. I don't think there's much panic. Just had a couple bad games from a few players and started the wrong tight end. Other than that, GG's on the hard fought victory all around and matchup for Bill. And I'm sure we'll have maybe another battle possibly down the road if we can both make the playoffs. Anybody else want to make any comments on this matchup?
Uh, I say both good teams.
Mm,
I don't need to
Great
yeah.
panic.
matchup.
Okay. All
We all
right.
predicted it.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
predicted
It was predicted
the
to be a
battle.
close one. Yep. Moving on then to the next matchup. This one, some people predicted, including myself, I predicted that Matt would pull the upset over Ernie and give Ernie his first loss on the season. I did not expect it to be this high scoring, as it was one of the highest scoring matchups of the week. Unlucky for Ernie, as he scores 136 points but gets his first loss of the season, where Matt picks up the win 141 to 136. Matt, despite Geno Smith kind of laying a dud, he did only need a little bit from Geno, and he got him enough before he got hurt. luckily for Matt. Pacheco had a huge game. Obviously, Stephon Diggs on that Miami game, which we all kind of figured would be high scoring. He just popped off with 3 touchdowns in a huge day. Adams just kind of did okay. T. Higgins, though, that's a concern for Matt as he's picked up an injury. And the boomer bust T. Higgins now might be a little bit of a bust as we'll see how long he's out. But Jacksonville defense, 22 big points. I mean, it was kind of the Pacheco, Diggs, and defense is kind of what led the way. Matt was a very boom or bust type team, but his booms were booms, which helped him get to the 141. On Ernie's side, just a solid performance. Obviously, he had some booms as well with McCaffrey almost getting 50 points, helping Ernie's bet against Pook for McCaffrey versus Bijan as almost a 50 burger for McCaffrey. Henry had a big game, a bounce back game after his bad game the week before. He started Romeo Dobbs since Mike Williams is now hurt, and that worked out well for Ernie on Thursday night. The only really concern was the boy he calls Justin Jefferson did not have anywhere close to a Justin Jefferson game as he got targeted once and had 0 points. So we'll see if Ernie's concerned at all about the fraud Justin Jefferson, because obviously my boy Justin Jefferson doesn't drop 0. But overall, a good matchup here. Like I said, unlucky for Ernie to score that many points and lose. But 3-1, both these teams now 3-1. Matt 3-1. I don't think a lot of people would have predicted him to get off to this good of a start. I mean, we knew he had these great wide receivers, but if he keeps getting big games from Pacheco, that really helps his running back situation. Anybody have any comments on either of these teams or this matchup?
Good win, Matt.
Yeah, those
Yes.
both good teams. Matt actually got a running back in Pacheco.
He's looked good the last couple weeks.
A good deal. Interesting to see how Adams gets
Who
traded
traded Matt Pacheco? Was it
Pook.
Pook?
Pook.
And then Pook
Okay.
now wants running back, so he fucked
Okay.
up.
Interesting.
Unlucky, my
Yeah,
boy
but,
Ernie,
I wanna
but
see
good
where-
win, Matt.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Finish,
Ernie
Cheese?
seems good. I want
Okay.
to see where Toe Adams is traded.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
He's not
yes.
lasting on the Raiders.
Yeah, that could help Matt even more.
Bring him to my Packers.
Especially with T. Higgins, maybe.
No, he ain't going back to the Packers.
Maybe not.
Why
Okay,
not?
Why would they give up?
left.
Why would they give up their draft capital that they need to rebuild?
Raiders are
I
dumbasses.
mean, are they really in a rebuild? They're 2-2.
They think they are.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they're win now.
All right. Rat, what were you gonna say?
I just said unlucky, my boy Ernie, but GG's Matt.
Okay.
Oop.
Yeah. We'll see if Ernie bounces back next week. Moving on to the kind of the shittier matchup of the week.
Just
Pook.
skip it over.
We ain't gonna skip it, pussy. You don't get off that easily.
Toilet bowl.
Pook picks up another victory, scoring just over 100 points at 109. As I guess when you face Pussy, that 109 is going to be enough because Pussy once again struggles to get anywhere near 100, only 86
Fucking
points.
disaster.
Pussy now falls to 1-3. Pook picks up the win, so he goes to 2-2. So that's good for Pook. Anthony Richardson coming back off that concussion last week. The real Cam Newton put up better than Cam Newton numbers with almost 30 points. Huge game for him on that almost comeback against the Rams. Gibbs, though, continues to struggle getting just the 9 points, 9 to 10 point range. Not looking like he's getting the run as David Montgomery just controls that backfield at the moment. Bijan Robinson. I fucked it up again. Bijan Robinson, 18 points. Not bad, but solid numbers, but nowhere near
Number 2
McCaffrey.
overall.
Huh? Yeah, not number 2 overall, as he could have had McCaffrey, who had a whole 30
48.
points more this week with 48.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that bet works out for Pook. Chris Olave dropped a stinker, 1.4. Nakua, though, picked up the slack for Olave with 31 big, huge points. Obviously, we will see what happens with Nakua, with Cooper Kupp possibly coming back. Well, I'll be interested to see who gets the targets. Do they share them? Like, how that all works. Because he's basically been Cooper Kupp 2.0, if not a little better. Darren Waller continues to not look anything good on that Giants. I mean, the whole Giants team is just a mess, as Cheese will admit. So Darren Waller has not been the guy that a lot of people during the draft drafted him to be. Mike Evans, who he traded for last week, only put up 7 as he got hurt, was out for part of the game. So another Saints-Bucks game where Mike Evans doesn't complete the whole game and put up decent numbers. That's just a cursed matchup for Mike Evans at this point when they play the Saints. On Pussy's side, let me see if I can find some highlights here on Pussy's team. Kirk Cousins, who Pussy was talking me highly about, saying he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and I tried to argue that it's Kirk Cousins. He's always going to come back down to earth at some point. Well, he came back down to earth this week in a great matchup against Carolina as well. Only not even 10 points.
Can we click on Kirk Cousins for reference?
Yes, yeah, we can. Yeah.
Look at the pass attempts.
Yes, okay. So you're saying they just ran the ball a lot or didn't have the ball that much? Or
It wasn't a shootout.
You know, I do see in these 19 pass attempts, he threw 2 picks. In 19
It wasn't a
pass
shootout.
attempts.
It was not a shootout. I'm looking forward to the Kansas City matchup this week, though.
Okay. Oh, okay. We'll see how he does. Listen, I'm not shitting on Kirk Cousins. He is a viable option. He's a decent quarterback in the NFL. But when you try to sell me that he's a top 5 quarterback in fantasy because that's what his numbers were before this week, I'm just, as I pointed out to you in DMs, he's going to come back down to earth. He doesn't finish top 5 in fantasy every year. He might have a good start and then he comes back, and he did this game. So that's all I was trying to say. Juggernaut Gervonta, yikes, got hurt. 3.9.
Fucking shit show. Your boys need to get it the fuck together.
They aren't going to get it together. I've been trying to warn you since the start of the season that the Broncos are a mess. They're injury prone. They're injured, and I don't want anything to do with them, and I'm a Broncos fan. So I don't know why you want so much to do with them.
Game. Get your fucking head out of your ass, Sean Payton. You're fucking ruining your image.
They can't have a running game when their offensive line is shit. I don't understand.
Ruining his goddamn image coming back to Denver and looking like this.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. But they did get a win, so that saved them in a toilet bowl game that they had to win.
Jesus Christ.
They were down 20
for Caleb Williams.
Travis Etienne, just an average game. Chris Godwin, I guess, was your highlight of the week with 19. And Christian Watson, who you said is him, almost dropped nothing until he got that touchdown.
He played limited snaps, but he scored a touchdown in limited snaps, so that looks decent.
All right, Goddard continues to stink up the place for the Eagles. They just have no creative way to get him the ball in the red zone or anything.
I'm just living with the quote that Nick Sirianni said that we got to get him the ball more.
Okay, and then obviously the big one that was the heated debate last week, the Stevenson deal for Taylor and Zach Moss. You believe in your boy Stevenson going forward. He's also questionable now, and he dropped a shit game against a tough matchup. It was a tough matchup, which made me either further question why you would trade away those Colts boys in a tough matchup this week. Why not hold them one more week and then possibly do the deal? But, I mean, I guess Zach Moss only had 9 points, so he only lost out on 3-point difference. But Chargers, I guess, was your highlight. You picked them up, and they got 16 last week. I guess that's good.
That's credit to you. That is all credit to you.
Yeah, you were going to pick up the Broncos, which we all shit on you in this fucking show for, which we I mean, they did get 10
to be
points.
Honest, the Broncos got 10.
But it wasn't looking pretty until they got a pick 6 at the end of the game.
And I was cussing out the TV when that happened.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what you saw in the Broncos defense and what you see good this week, but we'll get to that when we preview the upcoming matchup. But Pussy, your thoughts after go ahead. Your thoughts about your team after this loss to Pooh.
My team is
in a winnable game, by the way.
On paper alone, it looks fine.
Does it though?
However, on paper, it looks fine.
Okay.
My players have to fucking deliver. At some point, the players have to fucking deliver.
Okay.
I'm doing my GM duties and trying to make the team better, but my players, they got to fucking play better at the end of the day.
Okay. You're doing your GM duties. I don't know if I necessarily totally agree. You've made some questionable calls as GM so far this year. So
I don't think I have.
I mean, you traded for Javonte Williams.
You
traded for Stevenson, and you had both those Colt boys
that went down.
For
the Colts boys
Taylor that you drafted. That then you
don't have any news on Taylor.
There was news the other day. Came out that he's
he
back with the team.
He literally practiced today, but he hasn't want to play for the fucking Colts, you dumb motherfucker.
Why did you
literally practice today?
Yeah, I mean that's a step in the right direction. You got to practice for you to be able to play.
But he doesn't want to play for the Colts.
Okay, so why is he practicing?
Why would he practice?
Why wouldn't he just continue to sit out? tell the team he's never going to play.
Who do you think he's playing Sunday?
I don't know if he's playing this Sunday necessarily, but I think he's in a step of direction where I think what you said last week in the party, that he wants his money, so he will eventually give in and play. I think you might be right about that now, since he's back practicing. The only thing was you didn't follow what you actually believed. The next day, you did a complete 180 on what you thought and traded him away because you said he wasn't playing for the team ever again.
Hold on. So then, if let's say Taylor comes back.
Yes.
Then it just becomes Jonathan Taylor versus Ramondre Stevenson. Zach Moss is out of the picture.
Yes, unless Taylor gets hurt, then he always has the backup, Zach Moss.
I guess.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, okay, but let's say they're both playing, Stevenson and Taylor. Let's say they're both playing. Rest of the season, I think I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor. Rest of the season, I think Taylor's 100%. A little more talented than Stevenson.
We don't know.
I mean,
it's
listen,
all a question mark.
It's pretty easy. If Taylor didn't have this whole issue going on, draft, he would have been a end of first round, probably start a second round player.
So dumb that he takes Molly every day. He has no idea what he's doing.
That's the owner.
Yeah, but he's also the part GM.
Okay.
He has no idea what he's doing. Okay. I think Jonathan Taylor will be traded at the deadline to another team.
All right,
which
that's
then
fair.
The trade would.
But maybe do you think that's why they're going to get him back playing, so that way they can show him how he plays and then boost the draft,
I don't think
the
he
trade
plays
value?
Another down for the Colts. Don't think he plays another down for the Colts.
I
think he's practicing right now.
You know, that's just so crazy to me that you would say that. You've done a complete 180 on your take from last week.
Well,
I said that, and you gave me so much shit for saying.
You know that article didn't come out until the day after we had this show, and then I panic traded him.
Yeah. Well, at least you admit you panic traded him. All right, that's kind of just what I was trying to get out of you. Basically. Okay. Anybody have any thoughts on Pussy or Pook or this matchup?
Do not let Cheese comment.
Very lucky.
Fuck,
okay.
Shut the fuck up, Cheese. Go back to your fucking liberal ass college and fucking just
Pussy,
jack off every night, smoke a shit ton of weed. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God.
Nobody cares.
It's the midget rage. The one midget rage. Okay. Anybody else before I move on?
It's a pretty shit matchup.
Okay.
Nothing to comment on.
Trash teams.
Okay, 2 trash teams. Okay, moving on to the next one. This matchup didn't get a lot better as Tyler picks up a win over Zombie, 105 to 88. He did score more than you though, Pussy. So
barely. He's got a lot of room to talk.
Tyler, after his huge week last week, he kind of came back down to earth, only scoring 105. Lamar Jackson though did his part as he's kind of picked it up. Madison and Pierce kind of just averaging for running backs, not horrible. St. Brown had an okay game. It was basically the back half of Tyler's lineup that let him down as Jacoby Myers didn't do good. Kyle Pitts just continues. I mean, when Kyle Pitts is getting overtaken by another tight end on the team for targets and shit, that's not good. Hopkins, who he picked up, just kind of did mediocre. And then Tampa Bay's defense, though, had a nice game with 16. On Zombie side, it was basically Justin Herbert with a nice game. Raheem Mostert came way back down to earth as Zombie's got to be a little concerned about Ache now taking over that backfield, I would think, after his huge game and Mostert not doing shit, and he also lost a fumble. Swift, though, who he picked up in a trade with Slaps, that looked good, as he's had a nice game, 18. Devontae Smith, kind of just average for his standards. The real one was Tank Dell, the hype of Tank Dell. It lasted about a week, and then Nico Collins came back over. That's the thing with those Houston wide receivers. You don't know which one each week. One of them's going to have a big game, the way C.J. Stroud's playing, but you don't know which one it's going to be. Palmer, though, the guy Zombie picked up, had a just okay game. And then really it was Zombie special teams that let him down big time. He could have maybe won the game if he had better special teams. Only 1 point from Young Hoku and only 2 points from that Saints defense as they kind of got shredded against Tampa Bay. So the battle of the defensive matchup with Tampa versus the Saints definitely went Tyler's way, and that was kind of the difference in the matchup. Zombie, your comments now falling to 2-2 and losing to Tyler, and Tyler is now 2-2 as well.
Just a bad day at the office.
Bad day at the office. Okay, so no real panic I sense from you then.
No.
All right, anybody else have any comments?
Zombie's team is cooked.
Mid.
Mid.
Yeah, mid.
Okay, battle of the mid-off or just Zombies teams?
I mean,
Tyler's team's kind of mid
running
too.
back
So.
one for Dolphins. He's kind of cooked. Doesn't have a good running back anymore.
All right, interesting.
And he lost his boy Eckler
Yeah,
for
you
a guy
traded him
that,
away, right?
a guy that just might not like come back as usual.
I was a little
Like he
surprised
might not.
Zombie
I'm surprised about that trade.
sat Garrett Wilson after he traded for him.
Yeah.
He actually had a decent game as Zach Wilson had his first on a site game that actually, he actually played somewhat like a normal quarterback. So that was kind of interesting that Zombie sat Wilson. Guess what? You just were scared of the Chiefs? Just blowing them out completely?
No, it was this was his first fucking game where he was competent.
I mean, he had a 14-point
Now I'm
game the
starting him
previous
this
week
week.
when he had the long touchdown. But, okay.
Now we're
you're
starting him this week.
All right. Okay. All right, moving on to obviously one of the bigger matchups of the week. There was a lot of shit talk last week from Zach as he joined the show, and this week, as you know, Zach is not here, which could tell you that Cheese got the victory. Because I'm sure if Zach somehow beat Cheese, he would be here talking shit to Cheese. So that's all you need to know. Cheese gets a good victory, 122 to 106. Zach's team came crashing back down to mediocre, and Cheese's team put up another solid week. Jordan Love had an okay game after the disastrous first half. He bounced back. What? What is so pathetic?
Just doesn't show up. It just doesn't show up during the weeks he loses.
Well, I mean, if you beat him, you send him into inactivity, apparently. So I guess the key is just to beat him, not lose to him. I guess that's the key.
Wow.
I don't know. Ask him. I'm assuming he's not here because he got his ass beat by Cheese, who he said that he wasn't going to lose to last week. Kyren Williams with a huge game, 27 points. He looked very good. Aaron Jones on Thursday night. So Cheese kind of got off to a rough start on Thursday night, but then his team bounced back on Sunday. CeeDee Lamb with a nice game. Brandon Ayuk with a big game, as that was kind of a huge difference in their matchup, as Skinny D was non-existent and Ayuk came back and stole all the points. Ingram with another nice game as well. He looks like a more than serviceable tight end this year. Lockett kind of just mediocre, as Cheese is already trying to shop him before the show, so I'm sure good luck finding somebody with that value after he's on bye, and he had a mediocre week last week. Good luck. That's a recipe to get a lot of value.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a recipe for a lot of good value there, Cheese. On a bye and mediocre.
Interest.
Okay. All right.
Luke's always bugging me about him.
49ers defense only 2 points, though. That's got to be a little concerning now, playing against Arizona, no less. On Zach's side, Tua with his first bad game of the year, as Buffalo shut him down pretty much. But at least he didn't get hurt, so that's a positive. Jacobs, though, had a nice big game finally for once. Miles Sanders went backwards after his big game the previous week. Chase, just another kind of mediocre. He did get 9 targets, but that Bengals offense doesn't like to score touchdowns this year, or come close. Michael Thomas, just kind of mediocre. Mark Andrews, though, had a big game. And like we already talked about, Debo with a horrible game. And Zach's kicker, who he took in the draft as, I'm assuming he took him thinking number 1 kicker, best kicker in the league. He has kind of had just a rough year, as that Raiders offense is horrible. So overall, when you add all that up, a pretty solid win for Cheese to move to 2-2, sends Zach to 1-3. Cheese, your comments after your big victory over Zach to shut him up.
We're 2-2. We're weathering the injury storm.
Okay. Yep.
Couldn't really ask for much more.
Okay. All right. Any comments for Zach for sending him back into?
We talked about it before. Zach's team, I think we can all agree it's not a bad team. It just didn't mesh again at the right time.
Okay. Yeah, it seemed like everybody on Zach's team that had a big week the week before had horrible weeks this week.
Yep.
So, all right.
Unlucky Zach.
Unlucky for Zach. We'll see if he can bounce back and then get back in the show next week if he can pick up a victory. All right, moving on to the final matchup of last week.
Match of the week.
It was another big matchup, and Slaps, we'll see if he's hitting the panic button or the nuke button, as Fake Rat absolutely dominated him, 146 to 114. Fake Rat with a huge point total after a bad week the week before. Big win for him to move to 2-2. Slaps falls to 1-3. Mahomes, though, another kind of just mediocre game from Mahomes, as he did not look that good against that Jets defense. Couple picks. So, yeah, kind of a little rough there for Mahomes. Also, Kelsey with only 12. So, that Chiefs stack not looking like the Chiefs stack of previous years just yet. so we'll see if they can pick it up. They're kind of having some mediocre games every once in a while. James Cook, though, another solid performance from him as he's looked very solid this year. Achane with another big game after last week's 4 touchdowns. He followed it up with 2 more and 100 yards. That guy right now is looking like the running back for Miami moving forward, and the way that offense is moving, that's a very good piece to have. Tyreek Hill, though, only 10 points, kind of boom or bust weeks for Tyreek. He either goes off for 30 plus or he kind of just gets around 10 to 15. But they did kind of get blown out in that game, and the Bills clearly had a plan to try to stop him. Scary Terry, I recover fumbles in the end zone to get touchdowns because you can't catch them. Got 22, mainly off of big game off of that fumble recovery in the end zone.
I mean, he had 86 yards.
Yeah,
That's
he had a good game. He had 8 targets, 8 receptions.
Respectable.
It was a good game. It was a good game. I'm not knocking him that much. I'm just saying it was a big game because of the fumble recovery. You'd like to just see him catch a touchdown because moving forward, I doubt he's going to get fumble recoveries for touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy, who he has since moved on from, which is no surprise because everybody that gets Jerry Jeudy this year decides to pass on him after they see what he does in a week. So no surprise there with only another 8.2 game and the questionable tag, which always happens with Jerry Jeudy. Dallas defense, though, continues to look very good with 28 big points, had another huge game. Tons of pressure, tons of turnovers, tons of touchdowns. On Slaps' side, some decent performances from a few of his guys. The Hurts to Brown Eagles connection finally had their huge game so far this year. Unlucky, though, for Slaps that some of his other guys let him down. Mixon, another average to below average bad game for Mixon, and that Bengals offense is a mess. Brian Robinson, though, had another solid, decent-looking game. He definitely looks like the key running back there as Gibson is out of the picture. Christian Kirk had a nice game with a lot of targets, a lot of catches. George Kittle, though, another boom or bust type player that Slaps has on his team, and it was a bust this week. And Amari Cooper, who he traded for, and then after trading for him the next day, it was ruled that Deshaun Watson had an injury and was probably going to miss, and then he missed, and Cooper couldn't do anything. That whole Browns offense couldn't do anything. So a little bit of unlucky for Slaps to acquire Cooper and then have that whole injury happen to kind of fuck him. As we know, Slaps, after a bad week, always panics and tries to sell, and he had a deal for Cooper yesterday that then Ernie canceled. So we'll see if he ends up trading Cooper to somebody and probably won't get the value that he should get because of the bad week. But that's how Slaps runs his teams. And Pittsburgh's defense, -5. Very rough game for them. I mean, it's the truth. He just acquired Cooper last week, and then Cooper goes out and has a horrible game, and now and then he accepts an offer from Ernie for 2 lesser players for 1 better wide receiver. Like, I mean, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you hold on to Cooper for another week and hope he has a big week with Watson back, and then try to trade him?
I am amazed at the different teams' values of players.
I mean,
it's just
some people just panic. I mean, you got to see the game script. Cooper had no quarterback. No one. I mean, it's not on Cooper that he only had 2 points. It's on he didn't have a quarterback to throw him the ball. So I don't know why he would panic so much.
1 and 3 because I would be going to
you would
knock down his door.
Well, whose fault? I mean, whose fault is that you're 1 and 3?
My players.
Oh, okay. All right, so anyways, Fake Rat got a big win this week, bounced back after your bad week last week. Your players performed. Your comments on your victory.
Oh, I got the win with my big dogs not putting up their best performances.
Yes,
yeah. They'll come back.
Okay.
I think I finally found myself a nice running back with that change.
Yeah.
And I think he can be useful with James Cook.
Okay.
And when I don't need to play Breece Hall, I can have them 2 operate.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a good point. You put up a huge total, and your big boys didn't really do that much. So that's a good sign moving forward for your team, possibly. So I would agree. All right, anybody else have any comments they'd like to make on the final matchup of last week?
Way to beat him.
Way to beat Slaps. Okay. Yeah, we thought possibly after this loss by Slaps he might hit the nuke button, but he surprisingly has not pressed that button yet this week. But there's still time. There is still time. I'm sure he'll try, and I'm sure we'll see. Yeah. So looking at waiver claims for this past week. A couple interesting ones, not too many though that are that noteworthy. Obviously, the Denver running back with Javonte Williams being hurt had a couple bids. 17 was the winning bid for Pussy. Obviously, Pussy had to get him with having Javonte Williams. Tyler bid 0, so a little bit of an overpay there, but you gotta make that payment to ensure that you're gonna get him since you have Javonte Williams. And good pick up there for Pussy. The one obviously I pick up the Dolphins defense, needing a defense as both my defenses are on our bye.
I mean,
This was a sweet victory though, as Pussy bid 12, so I
don't know what
outbid him.
happened.
Anytime you outbid someone by the $1, you just feel good inside.
I mean, that is.
You
and
just
it's a
feel
fucking defense.
Yeah, I knew.
I mean-
Listen, I needed a defense. They have a great matchup. I think they're gonna bounce back after that bad game against
I wanna
Buffalo.
say something funny.
And I went and looked at all the teams that were gonna need defenses, and there was quite a few that needed defenses. So I knew I had to bid pretty high to get them.
I wanna say-
I figured
I-
somebody
What do you
would bid
wanna
like
say?
at least $10, so I always
Brett,
do
what
my
do you wanna
thing where
say?
I bid a
Get it
couple.
over
I,
Yes.
I was at the Phillies. I forgot to put it on my waiver claim.
Oh.
And
Oh.
I was gonna bid $12 on the defense also.
Wow.
So
Oh,
that
so
would've
I
been
beat out 2 people. That makes me
extra
feel
win.
even better. Nice. I like
Looked at
$12 is a
12
perfect
bucks on the
number.
Dolphins. You jack-offs.
Nice. Well, I do my thing where, I assume nobody's bidding $1 over the 10. Some people like even numbers. Then some people will say, okay, you like even numbers, so let me bid 1 over you. And then there's always somebody that'll have that thinking and go, okay, so I got to bid $1 over the $11. So then I just go, okay, somebody's
Oh
bidding
my
the 12,
God.
so then let me bid the 13 because it's an odd number. And it worked.
Fucking Jesus
So
Christ.
GG's. Good job. Pook picked up Michael Wilson for $9. Arizona wide receivers had a couple decent weeks, obviously. Tyler was trying to get him for the 0. Kind of just, we'll see if it works out.
Not a bad pickup.
Maybe he's the future star wide receiver, like a Nakua type that he's already gotten off waivers this year. I picked up Jaden Reed for 7, a little bit of an overpay. I needed a flex option, and he played on Monday night. But then I since have traded him for a little bit of a better flex option with Rat, which we'll talk about in a minute. Ernie got Michael Gallup for $5. I don't know about that, but Zach with a nice pickup, getting Sam Howell, who he's going to see in person tomorrow night, and dropped Bryce Young. I really think Sam Howell tomorrow will have a big game.
He's going to the game?
He is going to the game tomorrow, so he's going to see
fuck,
his
I
fantasy
can't start
boy.
anybody.
Oh, are you facing Zach?
No, I got to start
Oh.
somebody. I think I might have to start Dotson. I don't know if I should.
Well, why? Well, what does
Zach's
Zach going
going.
to the game have to do with you
If he
starting?
wants to see
I
Zach,
think
fuck,
that's-
okay.
I think all the luck will be on Zach's side. And Zach does not want me to do good. So.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I really like Sam Howell this week. I will be betting some money tomorrow night on some of his player props, as he had a great game against the Eagles, which is not a easy defense to play. Made some great throws on that final drive to go to overtime. Too bad Ron Rivera, who they call Riverboat Ron, is an idiot and did not roll the dice to try to go for 2 there at the end of the game to pull off that upset against the Eagles. I don't know why you would go to overtime against the Super Bowl Eagles that have looked great. I don't know in what world you think you're going to pull off a victory in overtime over the Eagles. They should have went for 2 on that final play. They had him on the ropes after going down on the drive. Sam Howell looked pretty good. So I like that pickup in a much easier matchup this week against the Bears. So very good pickup for Zach. I think he'll do good. Tyler picked up the Falcons for 0. Kind of just meh. Joshua Dobbs, zombie, dropped Daniel Jones. Obviously, he's like now the 3rd or 4th person to drop Danny Dimes. We'll see who's stupid enough to pick up Danny Dimes in the future.
No, hold on. Wait,
so-
he dropped Daniel Jones again?
Yes.
That's like the 3rd time he's dropped him.
Well, I didn't know if it's just him picking up and dropping. I know some other people
fuck,
have had
yeah.
Danny Dimes and dropped him. Yeah, I mean,
dropped
after
him
his
too.
horrible game, why wouldn't you drop Danny Dimes? The real question isn't that you dropped Danny Dimes, it's why did you pick him up in the first place? That's the real question. But-
Jeez, I'll let you have this one.
Now he goes with Danny Dimes. Zombie, do you have to play Dobbs this week, or you just picked up Dobbs as a backup?
Yeah, Herbert's on bye.
So you weren't interested at all in Sam Howell?
Dobbs.
You weren't
Josh
interested at all?
Dobbs.
Wait, you
Josh
weren't interested at all in Sam Howell this
Out of
week?
all the
Josh
quarterbacks
Dobbs.
you could have had.
He's going to start
Yeah.
Josh Dobbs.
Oh.
Oh
I
my
had him.
God.
I
Huh?
had Howell
Holy
in my,
jeez. Josh.
Well, you
Dobbs.
I
didn't.
had
You
Howell
didn't.
in my thing.
No, you didn't. Nobody else bid on Sam Howell.
I know I took him off though. Like I care more about who
Josh
I
Dobbs.
don't
Hold
want
on.
to have him on Thursday.
Oh, so you don't want the Thursday night game. Okay, I understand that, but it is a great matchup against Chicago Bears, and he just had a great game against the Eagles. I don't like Thursday night players either, but if I needed a quarterback, if in JV I need a quarterback because Herbert's on bye, and I was gonna pick up Sam Howell until I made that trade with Ernie to get Goff instead. But anyways, we'll see how Dobbs does. Pussy made a kicker change as he dropped. So he dropped Dicker to pick up Gay.
Dicker the kicker.
Yeah, yeah. So you went from Dick to
Check the
Gay.
nickname.
Yeah, interesting
No comment
choices
there.
for kickers by you, Pussy. Are you trying to tell us something with these names of
No,
kickers that
no.
you're getting? Are you sure? You could come out
But
on
for
the.
the other guy,
If you would like to come out of the closet live on this, we may get
Unfortunately,
250 views on this
No,
stream if
unfortunately,
you come out of
But,
the closet live.
At this point in time, I think we do need to take a look at the league and see, because there are going to be some people that would like fit that category.
Oh, okay. We'll look at the teams when we preview them. Pook picked up Logan Thomas, tight end, obviously $0. Zombie gets McPherson for $0. Zombie also picked up the Texans defense for 0. Not a bad pickup there. If I was unsuccessful in beating Pussy for the Dolphins, I had a bid in for the Texans.
Oh,
So I like the
Oh my
Texans
God.
this week as well as a possible defensive option. Zombie picked up Deuce Vaughn, and Zombie also picked up Stafford. So what, you're going to decide between Stafford or Dobbs this week, Zombie?
Yeah, cup play they'll play stuff.
Ooh, okay, interesting. All right, so those were the waivers. Like I said, kind of a little drier. Each week is getting a little bit drier than the previous week, which is why so many people spent some money early on, as it's getting kind of drier and drier. Looking at the trades, we've only had a couple trades so far. Today was the busy day for a couple teams, starting with Pussy and Fake Rat. As we said, they started out the day with the Drake London and Jets defense. Rat acquires as he needed a defense for Jerry Jeudy. So Pussy picks up yet another Bronco after we just spent the start of the show talking about how shit the Broncos are. And
I believe
you
in
did
the
your rant
Broncos.
on Sean Payton, then you decided to go get another Denver Bronco for your fantasy team.
correct.
Your thoughts, Pussy?
I believe in the Broncos.
You
and,
believe in the Broncos.
I do. I think they'll
Okay.
turn this ship around. They're going to make the playoffs.
They're good. Okay. All right. I would bet you on that, but that kind of goes against me being a fan of the Broncos. I mean, if I bet you. Rat, your comments on the trade. You picked up Drake London, who you eventually move, as we'll see here in a minute,
Yeah, I
and
found
get your
the
defense for the
trade,
week.
I found Drake London as that potential boom guy. Like he could have a good week out
Okay.
of nowhere.
Okay.
And I also needed a defense this week, so I
Okay.
felt like I had a comfortable time sending it out because Judy was not really that guy for me.
Okay. All right, gotcha. And then me and Rat, I made my first trade post-draft or after the draft. Obviously, I made a trade before the draft, but my first trade in the season with Rat of all people, a small one here, nothing too big, as I traded away the Jaden Reed that I picked up off waivers and 5 fab for Tyler Boyd. Now with T. Higgins' possible injury, I needed a flex this week as my Seattle boys are on bye. So I'm going to roll with Tyler Boyd and hope that he can get some increased targets like he got last week once T. Higgins left the game. Kind of just mediocre there. Obviously, Rat gets the fab, the $5 back. And what you picked up Tyler Boyd for free, right? So you end up profiting
Like a
$5.
dollar.
Oh,
Yeah,
for a dollar.
on
So you
fab.
end up profiting a little bit of fab, and you get a Jaden Reed for maybe on your bench to stash. Any other comments you'd like to make on that?
No, it's pretty broken
Pretty
down there.
mediocre, yeah. And then the final trade, this one though had a little bit of interesting to it because it kind of involved Pussy complaining a little bit in the chat.
Complaining,
Yes.
I wouldn't put it that way. I would just be proving wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, Tyler trades for Drake London from Rat, who Rat already acquired, and trades away DJ Moore after his big game last week for Drake London. Straight up. On the surface, obviously a lot of people on the surface thinking DJ Moore obviously has a better numbers this year, wide receiver wise. Drake London has yet to really do too much. He's got a touchdown, I believe, or a couple touchdowns, but he just doesn't put up the numbers as that Falcons offense with their quarterback has not done good. Although Tyler in the chat was saying he believes in Drake London moving forward, which is why he made the deal. He believes in Drake London to kind of get it going rest of the season. Pussy, my comment to you is if you still had Drake London and this offer was made, would you have done this deal?
I would have.
To acquire
would've.
DJ Moore.
I
Okay.
would have.
Okay,
And
so
I
you
would-
like DJ Moore
however-
more than Drake London.
Yes, I do. By
Okay.
far.
All right.
And I would put it close to the same value I have on Jerry Jeudy.
Okay.
I think I like DJ Moore just a tad bit more better than Jeudy, but
Okay. So you would have rather had DJ Moore over Jerry Jeudy. I would agree with that. I would rather have DJ Moore over Jerry Jeudy for sure. And I think I'd rather have DJ Moore over Drake London in the future. I disagree with Tyler's valuation, but it's Tyler's team, and he believes in Drake London moving forward. So that's why he made the
and he
trade.
has just weird numbers. It's all right. It's okay.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
we'll see if
I'll leave my
we're
comments.
wrong. Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
I did think on it a little bit, you know. You gotta
As
think
you do,
risk or
you love to
reward.
think.
I do like to think, and you know, I took the reward side because I think DJ Moore the reward side, and the future is London and his risk. So I went, and I feel like
Okay.
I got the better end. So
Yeah,
Let's
I
hope
would
it
agree, but we'll
pan-
see how it
let's
plays
hope
out
it
in the
pans
future.
out.
I mean, I think this trade will end up kind of just being one
Risk
where, and
versus
towards the end
reward.
of the season, it's kind of you look back and you go, it wasn't that big of a deal. I don't think DJ Moore's going to do drastically better than Drake London moving forward,
Yeah.
but I do think he is the better player, so he could end with more fantasy points at the end of the year. All right. So those were trades for this week. As we look here at the standings real quick before we move into this upcoming week's matchups, we have a new person at the top with my team
Oh.
taking over Ernie's team at 3-1. We're both 3-1, but I have a higher points for by about 20 points. So then Ernie in second after his loss. Still in good shape. Matt up to third at 3-1 as well. So 3-1 teams. So yeah, 3-1 is pretty solid. Then we have a whole slew of 2-2s. Fake Rat into 2-2 in fourth. Cheese into 2-2 in fifth. Bill falls to 2-2 after his loss to me, but still in sixth or in still playoff position. Tyler in 2-2. Then we have two 2-2 teams that would miss the playoffs if they started today, Zombie and Pook. And then the final three in the rear, all at 1-3, so pretty balanced standings here. Nobody at the 0-4 mark, which is good for everybody. Zach, Slaps, and then Pussy. The only thing I would point out if you look at points for between the 1 and 3 teams, Pussy's margin is
Of
way
course.
less
Yep.
than Slaps. I mean, it's just the facts, Pussy. I'm just pointing out the facts. I know you think I'm shitting on you, but I'm just pointing out the facts. Don't shoot the messenger. It's
The
just
fact, buddy.
it's just a fact. You're 70 points less than Slaps and almost a whole little bit of less than 100 off of Zach. So, looking. But we'll see if everyone can rebound. Moving into week number 5, we will start with my matchup versus Tyler. Me sitting at 3-1, as we said. Tyler sitting at 2-2, so another decent matchup here. Obviously, Tyler made the trade, so his flex spot is empty. So I'm sure he'll be putting in either Hopkins or newly acquired Drake London.
Yep.
Or I guess
Give him
you
10
could do
points.
Jacoby Myers as well.
10
So
extra
he's got
points.
an option. He's got a choice to make at flex. So we'll see who he makes there. So the projections will be very close once he puts his flex in. Before he made the trade, they were pretty much dead even, like 111 to 110. So when he puts the flex in, I'm sure it'll be very close. Obviously, I have some buy issues with my Seattle guys out. But I do have Purdy on Sunday night against the Cowboys in that big game, Dallas versus him. Hopefully Purdy can have a solid game. Obviously Dallas's defenses look great, so we'll see how Purdy performs. This is a big game for Purdy. We'll see if he can stay away from the turnovers like he's done all year. Pollard as well on Sunday night against a tough 49ers defense. Hoping Pollard gets maybe some more checkdowns, as they probably won't be able to run the ball as well, but hopefully he can make some big plays through the passing game. James Conner gets in against Cincinnati. So we'll see how he does after his bad game last week. Hopefully against Cincy he can bounce back. Justin Jefferson against the Chiefs. George Pickens against Baltimore. Kind of a rough matchup with the horrible Steelers offense looking, but I have buys, so don't have a choice. Hawkinson against the Chiefs, looking for a bounce back from him after his bad game. Hopefully that Chiefs-Vikings game can be high scoring. Tyler Boyd, as we said, newly acquired against Arizona. In the flex, Jake Elliott, and the newly acquired Miami defense against those Danny Dimes Giants. Danny Dimes, you can keep turning over the ball like you did this last week. Hopefully Dolphins can get a lot of pressure on him, so he folds. On Tyler's side, he has Lamar Jackson against Pittsburgh. Should be decent, as Lamar's been hot. Madison against Kansas City. Dameon Pierce against Atlanta. St. Brown against Carolina. Hollywood Brown against Cincinnati. Kyle Pitts against Houston. And like we said, we'll see who he plays at the flex. And Lions against Carolina. That is also very good defensive-wise. Both of our defenses could have pretty solid games this week. Obviously, this is, I think, going to be a harder fought matchup. If I had my Seattle guys back, I would like my position a lot better, but obviously with the bye issue, it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to need some good performances from my star guys. Hopefully Pollard bounces back after his bad game. Hopefully Hawkinson bounces back. So I'm hoping for some bounce backs from my bigger players, and then hopefully the Pickens and Boyd can get me just around 10 to 15, and I'll take that. So on Tyler's side, he does have a couple of decent matchups, but he also has a couple that I don't know what to expect out of them. So I'm hoping I can just pull it out like I did last week against Bill and get a win on a week where I have a big part of my team on bye. So we'll see what happens with that. I am kind of happy, though, that he traded away DJ Moore just for the sole fact of I have DJ Moore and JV. So now I can root for DJ Moore tomorrow night, and I don't have to worry about in this league facing DJ Moore. All right, Cheese, who's winning this matchup?
Easily you're winning it.
Easily? I don't know about
Easily.
that. That's kind of
Well,
a little. I have
I-
no Walker and no DK, and I have to play Boyd and Pickens.
I
How about
At
easily?
the beginning, I don't believe in
Okay.
Tyler's running backs.
Okay.
I've
Interesting.
continually said that,
Okay.
and I don't think his wide receivers are fine, but like Pitts isn't gonna do anything.
Okay.
And his flex is just gonna be someone mid. So
Okay.
still think your studs will put up enough.
Okay. Interesting. Let's
Over.
see. Fake rat.
I think you're gonna win. It's not gonna
Okay.
be easy though. It's gonna
Yep.
be a close game.
Okay.
Your big boys are gonna pop off, and that 49ers offense, I will tell you that the Dallas defense won't even have a shot against them. So,
Really? So you're predicting
yeah,
that Dallas
I
defense gets cooked finally?
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, this week is not the match. That's why I had to go get a defense.
Oh.
So Brock
Okay.
Purdy's gonna be able to get
Brock Purdy's gonna
be
cook.
fine. He'll be
Okay.
fine.
Interesting. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Pussy.
I'm gonna pick Golfer in
Okay.
a not so close matchup. I'll be
Really?
honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I would disagree with the not so close part, but okay. Zombie.
I think Tyler might squeak one out.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. All right. Moving on to the next matchup,
Oh,
we
God.
have Pook versus Matt. Another interesting matchup here for Pook. Can he somehow squeak out another victory against a team that may struggle a little bit with some injury issues that Matt has? Right now, does Pook have a full lineup? No, he's missing a
No.
kicker. So with the kicker in there, it's very close. So we'll see here. Pook has Richardson against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense has either been good or bad. So we'll see if Richardson can carve them up again. Gibbs against Carolina. I mean, it's a decent matchup, but we'll see how much he gets used. Bijan Robinson against Houston. Houston's defense looked very good last week, but we'll see if Bijan can continue to put up good numbers. Chris Olave looking for a bounce back game against New England. New England's always a little stingy with certain star players, but we'll see if Olave can have a good game. Nakua in there against Philly. Tough matchup against Philly, but Philly's
Get locked up, buddy.
he's going to get locked up. But the question is, does Cooper Kupp come back, and how does that affect Nakua this week? We'll see if Kupp ends up playing. Darren Waller still in there against Miami. We'll see. He's only projected for 8 points, and like Pook said, if he gets him 5, I guess Pook's happy because it's not that far of a difference off what he was projected to get. And then at the moment, Pook has Is that Joshua Downs for the Colts in at flex? Who does Pook have a bye or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evans hurt.
Oh yeah, Mike
Oh.
Evans is on bye. So okay, so he's running with Downs for the Colts. So he's hoping for the Richardson to Downs touchdowns and double points. And Patriots against New Orleans. On Matt's side, Justin Fields, who he acquired from Pook, tomorrow night. So a big night for Matt on Thursday Night Football with Fields. We'll see if he can put together another solid game after last week's big game, or if it was just the Broncos defense that made Fields look really good. Najee Harris against Baltimore. Pacheco, after his big games against Minnesota, could be decent again. Diggs against Jacksonville. Devontae Adams on Monday night against Green Bay. So Matt has a Monday night player to rely on. Dalton Kincaid on the Sunday morning game against Jacksonville. Adam Thielen against Detroit, and Bucker and Jacksonville's defense against Buffalo. So he has a couple Sunday morning games. He has a Monday night game. He has a Thursday night player. So Matt's team will have some different players, different lineups. So some options there for Matt. At the moment, I think I'm going to take Matt's team. I think this is a lower scoring matchup like Sleeper predicts, but I do think Matt pulls out the win, maybe like 110 to 100. Some of Pook's players, I don't know what to expect with their matchups as well as what they're going to do. And I think Fields can have like maybe a 20-point game. I don't think he pops off like he did last week, but I think he'll look a little bit decent tomorrow night to get Matt off to the right start. So I'm going to take Matt and his receivers. Who's winning this?
I gotta stick with Matt.
Okay.
Gives nothing for like 9 points.
Yeah. He just
think
needs
Sean
more
Payton-
opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
then you
doubting
can
his
see what he
talent.
gets.
It's just they're using Monty. It's not helping him.
Yeah.
Olave is gonna get hurt with the car injury still.
Oh.
Darren
Okay.
Waller is useless.
Oh.
Okay. Interesting.
They're not gonna throw. They're gonna run. With
Okay.
Saquon back, they're gonna run.
Oh, you said the Derek Carr injury.
Yeah.
The way you said that,
I
it
thought
sounded like
you
you
said
said he
that
was going to
Carr
get in a
injury.
car accident.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's what I.
I thought you were
I
wishing
only-
bad on a player getting in
I
a
only.
car.
I
Come
only
on,
wish,
Chief.
I wish all Atlanta Braves a very happy car accident.
Wow.
Not Derek
Holy
Carr.
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ!
Wow.
But I'll take Matt.
I know
He
who I'm rooting
finally-
for to win the World Series now.
He finally got a decent running back, it seems,
Okay.
with his stud of wide receivers.
Okay.
Take it home.
All right. Fake rat.
I'm gonna take Matt. Pook has been facing mid this whole time.
Yeah.
And trash,
hmm
and it's Pook's record. It should not be 2-2.
Okay. Wow.
His team hasn't been performing.
Interesting. Okay.
Gibbs is
Interesting.
That's all I have to say.
All right. Pussy.
I will be taking Matt in a
Okay.
route.
In a route. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Matt in a route. Interesting.
What are your words to use there?
The route part. All right. Zombie.
I'm taking Matt.
Matt. Wow. Clean sweep for Matt. Interesting. So that means Pook probably pulls it off somehow since we all think that's
We look forward to your message, pussy
He said
bitch.
He said
Okay.
a
I know you're
route.
listening. I know
Route.
you're listening.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next matchup. This one could be ugly. Pussy said a route for Matt versus Pook. I wonder if Pook's going to say a route for Ernie versus
Oh no!
Pussy in
He's
the
gonna say bad about my team. No.
Okay. Right now,
Oh,
at the
no.
moment, though, Sleeper has it projected somewhat close, 108 to 99,
Fucking
so a
right it
lower
does.
scoring matchup. A battle of 3-1 versus 1-3. So if Pussy could somehow get this win, that would be very big for him moving forward. Ernie has Burrow in there starting against Arizona, so not going with the Lawrence. Interesting. McCaffrey on Sunday night against Cowboys should be good like always. Henry against the Colts could be decent after his big game. Dobbs in there on Monday night against the Raiders. Calvin Ridley for Sunday morning against the Bills. Sam Laporta, obviously Ernie's big tight end against Carolina, good matchup. Sticking with Justin Jefferson, aka 0-point fraud Justin Jefferson, Addison in there against Kansas City, and the Eagles versus the Rams. On Pussy's side, he's sticking with Kirk Cousins against the Chiefs, hoping for a shootout in that game. You could get that, I could see that. Chiefs defense did not look good against Zach Wilson, so Kirk should do good. Ramondre Stevenson, assuming he plays against the Saints. Etienne on Sunday morning against Buffalo. Jerry Jeudy newly acquired in there against the Jets. I don't know. You know my thoughts on Jeudy. Christian Him Watson against Monday night as well. So a couple Monday night players against the Raiders. Dallas Goedert against the Rams. And Javonte Williams, if he plays
Who
in the
will
flex,
not
which
play.
won't play. So you're going to start the backup or undecided?
Undecided. We'll
You
be
said
exploring the trade market in the morning.
the trademark. Okay.
Or
So you have to
tonight.
decide basically between Dotson or the backup.
Or McLaughlin, or
Okay.
Warren.
Yeah, I guess maybe some check
Take a
downs
look at
from-
Warren, would you?
I mean, I know he's had a couple of decent games with check downs, but I mean, you're either his ceiling seems to be like 12 points if he gets the check down. His
Yeah.
bottom is bad game. Like I don't know if you can start him based off those numbers.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Well, you're welcome for helping you run your team there, talking you out of Warren. You're welcome. Unless he has a huge game, then don't blame me. And the Denver Broncos defense against the Jets. We talked about possibly starting them last week. You didn't. And then you now decide this week after seeing them get 10 points because of a lucky touchdown at the end of the game.
Yep. This is what we're
Against
doing.
Zach Wilson this week. So this is confirmed. You are going with the Broncos defense this week.
Bar somebody dropping a defense
Oh.
of relevance, I will be
Okay.
starting Broncos defense.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I am going to predict that Ernie gets the win. I think Ernie's big boys are just better than Pussy's team. I mean,
Okay.
I
Sounds good.
it's kind of
McCaffrey's got a bad
obvious.
matchup, but
Yeah, but it's McCaffrey. I mean, he's gonna get points. Like
he
McCaffrey
could get
against
hurt.
the
He could
Dallas
get hurt.
defense, he may outscore both your running backs combined, even with this bad matchup.
Can we bet on that?
And then he has Derrick Henry.
I'm gonna.
I mean, so
yeah, it's not
I'm
gonna
gonna take Ernie. I think I'm not gonna say landslide or route because Ernie would love nothing more than to destroy you. I'm just gonna say maybe about 15-point margin or 10 to 15 point
Okay,
margin.
sounds good.
Pussy, your team has not showed me anything so far this year, and I know you keep saying it's on
No,
them to
no.
perform, but until I
Good.
see them actually perform, I have to just question your team. Like, there's a lot of question
Perfectly
marks on your team. Like Jerry Jeudy as technically like your wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1.
For this
Like-
week, I got Godwin on bye.
Okay, well,
Yeah, but we're talking about
that's-
this week.
that's this week, yeah. So I can't go with that. I'm sorry.
Golfer, I lost Nick Chubb. This is what I'm
I
dealing with here.
understand. That's a heartbreaking loss, but you didn't go after
It is what it is.
other players that maybe you should have. I don't know. You've made some trades too that I don't know. Anyways, Cheese.
Yeah, I'm going with Ernie.
Okay.
Boots' team.
Shocker.
Have really bad
Okay.
matchups across the board.
Okay.
Like incredibly, like Buffalo or New Orleans, relying on 3 Denver Broncos to.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Finish it
Pussy.
up.
Just Cheese made a
The
great
upside
point.
is- the
You
upside
have
is there.
3 Broncos in your starting lineup.
The upside isn't
Like
really
that.
there.
Does
Well-
that not worry you?
No, I don't. I got 2 Broncos. Oh,
No,
yeah,
you have
I
the
got
defense,
yeah,
and you're
yeah,
probably and you're gonna start probably the
And
back.
Zach Wilson looked
It's
like
alright,
an
it's
okay
alright.
QB last week. You know,
Yeah. It's all right.
Okay, all
it's
right.
just
I don't
the
know how you
upside's not
expect me
there
to
for
pick
me.
3 Broncos. I don't even want 1 Bronco.
You're gonna need a high score to beat Ernie, I think, and I
Yeah.
don't see a way you're getting that.
Okay, fair, good point. All right, fake rap.
This is gonna be like the Dolphins versus the Broncos.
Oh.
The Broncos players are gonna experience
Okay.
another.
All
Four
right.
guys are
Yeah, finish it up, bitch.
gonna be shit on and lose by about 80
You're
points.
a fucking joke. You are a
It's
fucking
it's
joke.
not even a route, so like I don't even know.
Well-
the term
Well,
for that.
I
This
think
is the
Pussy's
first-
just
this is the
if
first
the
one.
Broncos give up 70 again, that's
But
what. Wait,
you're-
how many points did the Broncos defense get that day?
Fuck
When they
you,
gave up
rat. You're the
70.
bag
Let's,
of shit, bitch.
they only got
You're put-
-2 for giving up
Look,
70.
you're
Is that like the
putting
max?
Broncos boys in another tough situation.
Wait,
to-
how did they have a touchdown or something in that game?
Yeah.
Oh, they got bailed out by a defensive touchdown. I was gonna say, how did they only have -2?
I mean, who said like I don't know, man. I don't know what the team's heading in the right direction, but I don't know.
All right,
All right,
zombie.
man.
am actually gonna choose Pusa.
Wow.
My
Okay.
fucking guy.
Wow.
Respect game.
Why?
I think Ernie's gonna feel the loss of Mike Williams this week. His wide receivers are
Okay.
gonna put up trash.
So you don't think Dobbs is going to carry like he did last week when he got him like a good
Nah.
Okay. I did just realize it's a battle of Green Bay wide receivers on Monday night. It could if it somehow comes down to that could be interesting.
Fuck that shit. No
So-
way.
No, you don't want it to come down to that? So you're saying Dobbs is going to do better than Watson?
No, I don't.
Okay, so
but
why wouldn't you want
I
it to
don't
come down to
wanna-
that then? I think, pussy, if your matchup is in the balance come Monday night, that's a win for you. That you have an actual chance come Monday night to win. Your boy Watson versus Dobbs. Why wouldn't you want that? If I gave you that right now.
We'll see how it goes. Go for it.
Okay. All right. Well, Zombie's taking you at least, so you have one person on your side. We'll see. You got to prove it to me, pussy. Your team's got to prove it. All right. Moving on. We have Bill versus.
Oh, I don't get to pick?
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. You've talked a lot. I already assumed you were picking.
I am going to pick myself.
Okay.
And how I'm going to do it?
Yes.
My
Explain.
pick's going to show up this week.
Okay. So who's going to show up?
Is going to show up.
So
Who's going
Stevenson.
to show up? Travis Etienne is going to score 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
He's going to put up 25 points.
All right.
Ramondre Stevenson, he's going to have an average week. He's going to score about 13. Kirk Cousins, he's going to be fucking Kirk O'Change. He's going to show up this week. He's going to be him.
Okay.
Christian Watson's going to score another touchdown. Dallas Goedert's going to get fed the ball. He's going to have about 12.
Okay.
My kicker's going to fucking be gay, and he is going to kick 50-yard field goals like nothing. And with the Denver Broncos, they're showing up this weekend.
Okay. I noticed you left out the other Broncos players. You didn't say anything
Jerry
about
Jeudy, we'll see how that goes.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a good, passionate speech. Get your boys fired up come Sunday morning. Pussy, talk to them in the locker room. You know, you need to have that energy, and maybe they'll perform for you. I doubt it. All right, moving on. We have Bill versus Zombie in a battle of 2-2 teams. So big matchup here between these two. One goes in the right direction at 3-2. The other kind of falls back towards the bottom with 2-3. Bill, both looking for bounce back wins as well after losses, Leslie. Bill right now projected to win 111 to 101. Zombie has a full team, so 101 for Zombie after his bad week last week. Interesting. Bill has Josh Allen on Sunday morning on Jacksonville, so Zombie's going to wake up on that West Coast with that game probably almost done and see what for Josh Allen? Maybe another pop-off game like he had last week? Zombie, are you going to wake up early on the West Coast to watch Josh Allen possibly fuck you?
No.
No, you will sweep through it and hope you wake up to him having a mediocre game. I like it. All right. David Montgomery against Carolina. Alvin Kamara against the Patriots. We'll see if Kamara continues to get the huge check down workload. Nico Tall Jefferson. He had a big game last week. Jefferson-like. We'll see if he can continue it against Atlanta. Waddle, who Zombie once traded, I think, to Bill against the Giants. He had a bad game last week coming back off injury. We'll see. Against the Giants, though, that could be a get-right type of matchup. Zach Ertz in there against Cincinnati. Michael Pittman after his bad game against Bill's Tennessee Titans. See how he does there. And the Baltimore defense against the Pittsburgh horrible Matt Canada offense. That should be pretty decent. On Zombie side, currently in there, as we talked about, Joshua Dobbs against Cincinnati. We'll see if he goes with Stafford. Like Zombie said, a cup plays, then Stafford will be in there. Raheem Mostert looking for a bounce back against the Giants. That's a get-right game. Maybe both running backs have 4 touchdowns again against the Giants. Swift in there against the Rams. Devontae Smith against the Rams as well. Garrett Wilson gets in there against those Broncos. Could be decent if Zach Wilson plays like he played last week. Hunter Henry against the Saints. Tank Dell in the flex against Atlanta after his bad game. And the Saints defense against those Patriots. I think this one's going to be close. I really think it's going to be close. I like some matchups and some players on both sides. I am going to lean slightly to Bill just because he has his quarterback and Zombie has Herbert on a bye, which hurts him quite a bit. If Zombie would have picked up Sam Howell, I would have picked Zombie because I believe Sam Howell gets 20-plus points this week. But he didn't. He chose a different option, and I think that's going to be the difference in the matchup is the quarterback position. So I'm going to take Bill in a close one, though. Cheese.
Gotta take Bill.
Okay.
Finally started the right people.
Okay.
Great matchups too.
Okay.
So Zombies team, I think will it'll be a big fight. I think.
Okay.
I
Yeah. Go
Might
ahead.
be a Ray thing.
Uh,
It'll be very close.
Okay. Fake rat.
Zombies getting shit on.
Wow, getting shit on. Is this another
Man.
route or?
Yeah, I'm gonna use Pooh's turn.
Wow,
Call it a route.
A route.
Zombies got a bag up running back, and so it's not
Okay.
gonna help him.
All right, interesting. Another thing in this matchup that I didn't mention could be the Nico Collins Tank Dell if Zombie sticks with Tank Dell.
That is true.
Do you have any other options on the bench besides Tank Dell? No, not really, because everyone else is on a bye. So that could be a big determining factor if it's a Tank Dell week or a Nico Collins week.
Well,
So
it depends on.
Or both.
it could be
Depends on if
both,
Cup
but
plays.
oh yeah, if you have Cup, then obviously, yeah, I forgot you have Cup. So you could obviously he's going to get in there, which would be a big boost. If you get Cup, even if he's not totally Cooper Cup-esque, that's still a big boost I think for your team, and that probably might be the difference. But all right, so Fake Rat says a route for Bill. Interesting. Pussy.
I'm gonna pick Bill.
Okay.
Although Zombie did pick me, I just once Zombie gets Cooper Cup back, his team will get a lot better.
Okay.
But without Cup, I'm gonna take.
So you're saying Cup won't play this week, basically.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. All right, Zombie, you getting this win against Bill?
Yeah. I think Cup is gonna play.
Okay.
And I'll start him and Stafford,
Okay.
and they're gonna have to throw a lot because they're gonna be down against the Eagles.
Get the Eagles. Okay. Yeah, that'd be kind of a tough first matchup back for Cup, but at least he's got Nakua on the other side to have some attention from the Eagles secondary. So
The whole entire Eagles game in your lineup.
yeah, you'll that ain't always a good thing if it's a low scoring game, but Eagles versus Rams should be decent scoring for fantasy. But you're right, you'd have like fucking like half his lineup would be in that game. Interesting. All right. So moving on then to the
match of the week.
Next matchup. I wouldn't call it the match of the week, but it's definitely one that could cause Zach some more inactivity pain if he loses to Fake Rat after the shit he's talked to Fake Rat this year. Rat at 2-2, Zach at 1-3, so Zach needs a bounce back week to help his confidence. He thought he got it last week, but then got destroyed by Cheese. So looking here at Rat's team, 123 to 112 is the projected score. Rat for a pretty decent victory. He has Mahomes against Minnesota. That's a good matchup for the Mahomes-Kelsey stack this week. James Cook against Jacksonville on Sunday morning. Achane against the Giants. Very good matchup, as I said. He could have another huge game, assuming he gets the workload. Tyreek Hill against the Giants as well. God, I don't think the Giants have any possible chance of slowing down Hill or doing any type of coverage against Hill. It's just a matter of does Hill get the ball a ton to pop off. I don't think the Giants have any answer to stop Tyreek Hill. Scary Terry in there tomorrow night on Thursday against Chicago. Also a good matchup, so he could have a big game to start him off. Kelsey against Minnesota, as we said. And Breece Hall in the flex against those Broncos could be decent. He almost broke one last week for a touchdown. Just got stopped by the last defender, so decent. And the Jets defense against the Broncos could be all right. On Zach's side, Tua against those Giants, so at least whatever points Tua's throwing to Hill or any touchdowns Hill gets, at least Zach gets some of those points back. It's just a matter of does Miami run the ball in for touchdowns? That would be where Zach gets fucked. Jacobs on Monday night against the Packers. Miles Sanders against Detroit. Jamar Chase against Arizona. Can Chase have a big game? It would be a good time for Zach to finally get a huge game out of Chase. We'll see. Michael Thomas as well. Can he get in the end zone possibly? Patriots, always a little bit of a stingy team. We'll see. Andrews against Pittsburgh. Debo, Skinny D, questionable against Dallas. Kind of a rough matchup. Coming off a bad week, though. Maybe Debo gets used more in this big-time, primetime matchup. We'll see. And the Chiefs against Minnesota. I don't know if I necessarily like that defensive matchup. I think Minnesota could at least put up some points in that game. I'm going to take Fake Rat, and I'm going to call this one the route of the week. Everyone was predicting their routes, so I will predict a route. I think Fake Rat routes Zach this week, sending Zach into furthermore pain. Nothing against Zach's team necessarily. I just think Rat's matchups are very good this week, and he gets the counter on Tua. So if Tua does have a huge game, it's probably going to be Hill and Achane as well. And I just like Rat's matchups a lot. I like his Thursday night with McLaurin. I like his Chiefs matchup stack this week. So I think Rat picks up another huge week after his big one last week and routes Zach. Cheese.
Zach's staying in the fantasy depression.
Mm.
Can't hear from him for a while.
Okay. All right. You hate to see it for Zach. Let's see. Pussy.
This is going to be an ass beating. Zach is not going to show up for weeks, and I hope he enjoys the postman job and grandma's Wi-Fi.
Well, he doesn't live with grandma anymore, but okay. Zombie.
I'm going with my friend Zach.
Friend Zach. Wow.
Uh,
You're taking Zach. Wow. The only person. Okay. Interesting. All right, Rat. You gonna take him behind the woodshed or?
Zach, you might not see another day, buddy, after this. You're gonna hit the nuke button more harder than slaps.
Wow.
You're
Wow.
done, Zach. I'm sorry, buddy.
Wow. Week 5, and you're saying Zach's team
You
is
are
done. Wow.
Zach.
Mm,
It's over.
interesting. I'll see what
like
if
my
we'll
team.
see if Zach hears these comments and has any response to these. Those are some
Uh,
strong words.
And thank you to Cheese for letting the Dolphins play the Giants this week.
Yeah,
Go Dolphins.
that's
Is it a
great.
primetime game,
Great
or is it
matchups.
finally a normal?
Yeah,
scheduled
it's a 1 p.m. game, but I don't think
God.
that's gonna help you at all.
No,
You just won't be
And
as much embarrassment because there'll be
That's what
other
I'm saying.
games
Point you
going.
made.
yeah, everyone's not gonna
to,
watch us. It's fine.
Okay. All right, and then the final matchup of Week 5, we have Cheese versus
Hold up.
Slaps. Big battle here. 2-2 for Cheese, looking to go to 3-2. Slaps at 1-3, so he desperately needs a win. Right now, Sleeper has projected Cheese to win, 116 to 105. Cheese has Goff in there against Carolina. Decent matchup there. I like that. Kyron Williams against Philly. Tough matchup. He had a huge week last week. We'll see how that goes. Saquon Barkley hopefully will finally make his return against that Dolphins defense. We'll see how he does coming back off injury. CeeDee Lamb against the 49ers could be a tough matchup, but we'll see if CD has a big game to try to keep the Cowboys in the game. Ayuk as well against Dallas. So 2 primetime receivers on that Sunday night matchup. Evan Ingram against Buffalo on Sunday morning. Aaron Jones in there at the flex on the Monday night game. Decent flex option against the Raiders, who haven't looked good. Now we'll see if Jones more fully healthy if he has a big game on Monday night. Washington tomorrow night against those Bears. So good start of a defense for Thursday night football. On Slaps' side, he's got his Hurts and Brown combination facing the Rams. Joe Mixon against Arizona. Brian Robinson tomorrow night against Chicago, so he has a player tomorrow night. Christian Kirk on Sunday morning. Jake Ferguson in there for the Sunday night game. He's had a decent start to the year, so not a bad option. So Kittle seeing the bench against the Cowboys. Wow, interesting.
Interesting.
Very interesting move there. He believes in Ferguson and Kittle after last week. The only thing I worry about Slaps with that decision is he over panics about a bad week with Kittle, and then the following week it turns
Bam.
around. So I don't know if I'd make
Yep.
that move if I was Slaps, but we all know
Hopefully
how
this is
Slaps has been
Slaps.
running his team this year, so good luck. Gabe Davis in the flex, though, against Jacksonville could be decent. And Pittsburgh, he's riding with Pittsburgh against Baltimore. There's no shot. After a negative game, he's going to stick with Pittsburgh against Lamar Jackson? Really? I mean, I guess there isn't any options, but I don't know. I don't know about that defensive call. That could be another minus point game for Pittsburgh.
I can tell
I'm-
you exactly what's
What?
going to happen in this game.
Okay, well, let me make my prediction real quick, and then you can have the floor. I obviously am going to pick Cheese to win. Slaps has some pieces on his team, but as we've been talking about, Slaps seems to never be able to start the right guys, seems to be overanalyzing everything or underanalyzing certain things, and I don't know if I'd be benching Kittle in a primetime game like that. I mean, I get it. Ferguson has had a good start. Maybe you look at possibly starting both. I don't know. It's tough for Slaps because he has a lot of options, but he keeps starting the wrong ones, which is hurting his team. So I'm going to take Cheese. I like some of Cheese's matchups. All right, Pussy, go ahead. You have the. What's going to happen exactly?
I'm going to
in this matchup?
say that as of right now, this game will be very, very close.
Wow.
Very, very
Okay.
close.
All right.
However,
Yes.
I'm not sure if Slaps watches the show or
Yeah. Okay.
I think he probably watches his matchup preview.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will say this.
Mhm.
You commenting on his roster decisions is going
Yes.
to sway him into A, starting George Kittle,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
B, picking up a different defense.
I mean, you
Those
should pick with
two
different
decisions-
defense anyway.
It's home run.
Those two decisions alone are going to win him the game, and
Okay,
you're going to
wow.
be a hero.
And I'm gonna be a savior
Yeah.
for Slaps. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because that's how Slaps runs his team.
Or Kittle has another shit game and Ferguson pops off and then he blames me because I said all those good things
Well, then
about
that's
him on
good
the
for
show.
us because then he's for
Okay.
sale for
Oh, okay.
pennies on the dollar.
Okay. All right.
Because that's how Slaps runs his team.
If I see tomorrow
rather
the
want
Pittsburgh
Slaps to
defense
win.
dropped and somebody else picked up, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
I hope that Slaps wins and the Eagles play like straight shit. Because then the Eagles are for sale next week.
Okay. All right. Well, they've had a couple rough not to his expectations until this last weekend. He didn't
Oh,
sell
last
them
week
yet.
I almost got a trade done with him, and then this week he's like, "No, they're not
I
for
know.
sale."
That's because they finally did what he was expecting them to do. The first couple weeks, they didn't. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep pointing back to Slaps on that Swift trade. I'm just gonna keep
Yep.
hearing until
I agree.
until something changes with his team.
I'll take the floor for the.
That
My
Swift
voice
trade,
I'll
first of
take
all, he
the
benched
floor for
him,
that.
and then he popped off, and then he traded him, and he had the stack. He had the Eagles stack, and he gave up Swift for not that much. I mean,
I
Mixon
want
has
to
looked like
take
shit.
my
Okay, go ahead.
on the
Yeah, predict.
Slaps. I feel like we talked about Slaps at the nuke button, like he's gonna hit it. I feel
Yeah.
like he hit it like 2 weeks ago with
Mm.
getting rid of Swift, getting
Yeah.
rid of all the shit he had. I
Uh-huh.
feel like he got rid of the good shit, kept the
Yeah.
wrong shit.
Yeah, he
And
got
his
rid of
roster
Keenan
is
Allen at one
depleted.
point, and he got rid of
His
Swift at
roster
one point.
is very depleted,
Hmm.
and I'm taking Cheese in a comfortable 15-point win.
Okay.
It's
All right. It's a very
Slaps
good,
went in the wrong
point. He
direction.
had two really, really top players in Allen and Swift,
Depleted his
and he
roster.
traded them. And I would argue he traded them
Look
for
at
a
his
bunch
bench
of
now.
average.
Look at his bench. His bench
Yeah.
is just. I don't know.
I
what
mean, he's got
that is.
Cooper on bye, so
Well, yeah.
my whole thing with he traded away those guys, and he got. It's almost like he did 2-for-1s for those players to get better overall depth. But the problem with all his depth is they're all boom or bust type guys, so he doesn't know who to start each week, which isn't a good problem to have. So I don't know. All right, let's see here. Zombie, who's winning?
You know what? I still think Slaps are gonna win.
Wow,
Wow.
Zombie has been the rogue person today. He's picked a lot of people on his own.
He's
that
not
don't-
had his
Wrong
Charles
person.
Barkley guarantee.
All
either.
delusion.
Yeah, no Charles Barkley guarantee this week, Zombie. They're all too close.
Ooh.
Delusion.
No, there's too much variables.
Okay.
There's no
Interesting.
guarantee.
I
this
will
one.
Charles Barkley
guarantees this.
guarantee this one.
Delusion.
This one? Wow.
This
Okay.
is a guarantee. Slaps,
Wow. Okay.
Your team's
Let's
a
go,
mess,
Slaps.
buddy.
All right.
Take our changes,
All right.
adapt, and then you're gonna win.
Okay, interesting. All right. Cheese, are you worried about Slaps making those changes and that be the difference, or are you just going to win no matter what he does?
Look, yeah, I mean, I'll even tell him you gotta take the Pittsburgh defense out. Unbelievable.
Wow.
It's-
Okay, that's very nice of you.
It's unbelievable that they're still in there.
Yeah, I mean, if it was
Especially
me, I'd be
against-
telling him to keep him in there. So that's very,
I really
very
hope
good
he
sport of
watches
you,
the show.
Cheese, to tell
It's
him.
the Ravens.
hope
Like
he
it's a good
watches the
offensive
I
win.
know, I know.
Listen to you.
I think I'll win.
Okay.
Obviously, we're finally, hopefully, full strength.
Okay, all
The
right.
first time this whole season.
Okay,
I got all my running backs in, all my wide receivers in.
okay.
Ayuk's looking like Purdy and Ayuk got the connection down. Guinea
Mhm.
D's no more.
Mm.
You know,
Okay,
I didn't want to deal with the Monday night QB situation with Love that never ends well.
okay.
And Goff kills it at home, and Carolina sucks.
Yeah,
I don't believe in Mixon. Robinson can have a nice game,
okay.
Chicago, but at the same time, Christian Kirk could get shut down. Ferguson could get shut down.
Hmm.
Gabe Davis is solely relying on touchdowns.
Okay,
So I feel like we were bust guys.
okay.
And I feel like I got the consistent guys in there.
All right, interesting.
And
I would agree.
Barkley,
Continue to
if
start
Barkley's
Gus
in,
Edwards.
they are
Yes.
running it. They are not
Okay.
letting Danny Dimes throw the football.
Okay, yeah,
Besides, like check down. So
okay. Yep.
He will rack up the points.
All right, sounds good. All right, so those are the matchups for this week. Good luck to everybody this week. It will be an interesting one.